All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome back. We had our drop for Bitcoin all the way down to 81,163. I had a support level there that seems to have worked perfectly fine, and this support actually involves a further lower level from 76,000. So that's pretty valid. I drew this fib zone from that low point of 76,000 to our highest point at 88,700. And from there, I have the levels of where we could have seen Bitcoin drop, which already served as a support in the past, and it served as one once again over here. I did mention in yesterday's stream we would not be going above the 84,000 mark level zone that I have over here. Couple reasons why. First of all, it is one of the resistances that we see for this from this rise, right? So that's the first resistance. Also matches with the pivot, also matches with the exponential moving averages that I have here. We did have a temporary gold cross that didn't last anything. So now we're back down to a death cross on Bitcoin, meaning that the trend is currently supposed to be headed toward the downside. And that could absolutely happen here. I want to check the 5-minute chart just to see. Yeah, we are indeed about to start another drop soon. What I'm going to do... It says I have 190. Okay, it's... You know why? Because of this. Canceling this limit order. Come on, please. I just drew that there for literally no reason. Just in case it dropped, I wanted to see if it was able to grab that. Not like I'm actually going to enter it or anything. Let me go to documents. Here, strategy. And Python live py. I'm comfortable with entering Bitcoin only at the moment. So if we find a drop currently, we should enter that. I think I missed it. Did I miss it? Probably did. No, I didn't. We're good. I'm hoping that this candle is green, but not that green. Like if it stops right there, that would be great. But whatever. We'll let it take its time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're absolutely getting a stop loss above this level, which I'm fine with. We are currently seeing a bit of a recovery, like I said, a bounce up from the prices here. And I want to try to grab it as best I can so we can start heading downwards once more. I don't think the trend will be changing. We are technically still in the downtrend. I understand we also like broke out over here, this zone, from the longer term downtrend that we have for Bitcoin, which is absolutely valid. But I feel like we maybe will just have to, unfortunately, readjust it. And if we do readjust it, that's something I did want to check as well. How long it would have to go. Yeah, by end of month April, that would make a bit more sense. I feel comfortable with this little readjustment. It's technically showing that, okay, the green super trend from, you know, this downtrend being broken. I mean, just to be more specific, it was up here. Oh. There. I'll keep it drawn for now, but I do know for a fact that, you know, this downtrend would have to be readjusted over here. You know what? I think I will just draw another one because I feel like it's going to be really important going down the line here. Right there. So that way I know, like, okay, I know this one was here temporarily, which is kind of broken. That's what we saw the super trend flip green. How low can we drop? I mentioned we will not see anything hopefully lower than that because of the amount of buying power that is in this zone. It's significant. You see many times we have rejection of this zone, but there is a chance though we can continue to see a drop from a couple of reasons. Tomorrow's an important day. We're getting unemployment data and non-farm payrolls, right? So if these come out and they show a weak economy and it shows that, you know, maybe reasons to probably increase inflation, recession fear, whatever the case may be, reduced chance of a rate cut. That's going to impact the market in a negative way. We're also having Jerome Powell going to be speaking tomorrow at 11:25. Will depend as well on what he has to say, especially he will absolutely be asked a lot of stuff in terms of Trump tariffs. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. We do know that the Fed fund rates that we have, the outlook for them, are pricing in the worst case scenario. At least that's what we were told. Hey, look at this. 67% chance of not getting a rate cut in the upcoming meeting in May. 94% chance of us getting a rate cut in June. And now these percentages surprisingly just changed as well. 71% chance now that we're getting our second rate cut immediately after June in July. That used to be in September. Not anymore, it seems like. Now there's more of a chance of us getting a rate cut in July. Is that 4 rate cuts that I see this year? 1, 2, this nothing, 3, 4 by December 2025. I don't know if you guys can see these numbers here. Here, I'm going to zoom in for once in my life, right? We're currently here at 425 to 450. That's what we're expected to stay there for this upcoming meeting that's happening in May. In the meeting of June, that's when we were already going to expect our first rate cut. 94% chance that's going to happen. July, we were supposed to not get a rate cut, but now it seems like we are. The percentages have increased here. Probably due to the fact that maybe tariffs will indeed be a good thing. More rate cuts equals good, by the way. And Trump has been pressuring the Fed to cut that fund rate, Fed interest rate, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, Fed funds futures, whatever. So, hey, maybe we get that. July 30, that's absolutely a possibility now. September, we stay there. That's already 2 rate cuts. October, we're going to get another one. That's the 3rd one. So that shifted up from December. And in December, we're getting another one. 80% chances for both, approximately. So that's 4 rate cuts. That is insane. Originally, I think it was just set to 2. Maybe this is not as bad as it seems. Or maybe, I don't know, it's probably overhyped or something. I hope not. Because we're in a very unstable position. I will admit that. Everyone will admit that at this point. So that'll be interesting to see. Right? I want to check 5-minute chart. I'm waiting for this to see if it shorts a position. Seems like we're swinging upwards still. Alright, well, let it continue until it's the right moment to swing to the downside. Maybe we do continue up to around this area again. 83, 84,000. 84,000, I'd say. That could rise a little more. We'll see. I'll leave the bot running to try to enter a trade there, if possible. I mean, if it rises anyway, whatever, I'm cool with it. But otherwise, things could be dangerous. Okay, so that's what we have in terms of rate cuts and what's coming tomorrow. All of that will be impacted by what Jerome Powell's speech will be. Interesting. Okay, I actually didn't realize that, but it seems like, yeah, 4 rate cuts this year. That is probably excessive. Last year we also had 4, I think, right? We had a 50 basis point rate cut, which counts as 2 in 1. And then 25 the next month, 25 the last month. So that was 4 rate cuts of 1 whole percentage. Seems like that's going to be the case for this year too. I don't know. Those percentages can always change. It all really fluctuates, depends on market data. So we got to wait and see what happens, especially tomorrow when we're getting some important stuff. Other stuff that can impact it is PC inflation, GDP, all that other stuff. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Bitcoin's current price is 83,190 currently, and Like I said, I still think we are in a downtrend in the 1 hour chart, right? That's absolutely still the case. So we could maybe see another drop, especially overnight. I'm expecting at least. Although this happened when? This was midnight. We rose a little bit, 5, 6 a.m. It started dropping. And it dropped to this low point. I actually managed to DCA a good position in here on my main account. So I'm pretty content with that. I had other trigger orders a little bit further down just in case we do continue dropping. But it seems like things have slowed down their down pressure for now. There's still reasons for why it could drop, like I said, tomorrow. Or another reason could be the responses from countries from, you know, Trump's tariffs. And it's not just the Bitcoin market that was also suffering this sell-off. It was mainly, I guess, influenced by Wall Street, and that's why I wanted to pull up. Where did it go? Far side here. Wanted to see what the outflows were for today, and it seems like it's already significant. $165 million outflow from the Bitcoin ETFs. Ethereum, I would want to think. Well, it's not that bad. 3.6 million outflow. Yesterday was 51 million. I think yesterday would have been worse, right? Actually, we had an inflow yesterday in Bitcoin. Probably from the morning. I don't know. Big outflow from BlackRock, though. 115 million outflow yesterday. All right. Trump says that the market is going to boom. Do you trust Trump? I kind of do. I think this could still work out long term. It has to. He's been... I saw these posts of him talking about terrorists back in 1990, never... And this is something that he's been cooking up for a very long time now. This whole tariff stuff. And now he's actually, you know, making it happen. He did kind of have a go at it in 2018 with China. It did cause some volatility, but, I mean, ultimately, everything works out in the end. And then after that, we had the global pandemic, which is whatever. That's out of our control. But... now, now that he has like the full support from the full government support, the House, the Senate, whatever, he has the power to do whatever he wants now. And now he's going full force with those tariffs. So, of course, short term, it brings volatility. It's dangerous. It typically is movements toward the downside. But we know that long term, it's for the good of the US. And it's also good pressure for Canada to wake up. I kind of like what is being done. Like, he made Trudeau resign, made himself reflect kind of deal. We're seeing what other Canadian politicians are also planning to do. I don't know if I have I don't think I included it in this video, but there's new poll for the Canadian politics. We're getting our elections soon on April 28th. And Pierre is, I think, finally in the lead at, I think something 42% compared to Mark Carney at 40%. Polymarket probably shows something different. Can I find Polymarket's Canada election polls? Next Prime Minister of Canada, boom, the first result. I remember looking at this all the time as well for Kamala Harris and Donald Trump back when it was the US elections. It seems here now that it's very in favor of Mark Carney. He's the leader of the Liberal Party, which was the party that of Justin Trudeau and the party that, you know, caused this whole mess in the last 10 years. Not to get too political or anything, but I think Pierre Poilievre is the better option. And it's showing here, crazily enough, that Pierre has a 35% chance of winning. Different polls show different odds. These are other politicians. Chrystia Freeland was also Liberal Party, competitor against Mark Carney, but I guess she got outvoted and Mark Carney took the lead for that party. Jagmeet Singh is the leader of the NDP, New Democratic Party, which is a complete joke, but it's fine. They take away votes from the Liberal Party, so I guess that's fine. Yeah, I'm expecting Pierre to win. Hopefully so. He's just got a lot of great ideas. He posted one video that I saw, which was really interesting. Apparently, like, the gas pipes, or, yeah, the gas pipes that Alberta produces and sends over to, like, the east side of Canada. Alberta, one of the provinces of Canada here. Apparently it has to go through the United States and then back upwards. And, you're giving Donald Trump control over that because, the pipeline is in the United States. You could just immediately, cut it off if you wanted to sanction Canada or something. I don't know. Not sanction, but sabotage. And so his idea is, Trans-Canada National Railway, a way to connect all provinces, allow free trade between all provinces because it's literally cheaper to trade with other countries than to trade within our own provinces here in Canada, which is just outrageous, right? Find a way to get a free trade deal within our own country first, solve that problem, then we can start focusing on whatever Trump wants. But the Liberal Party, it's always just like, reciprocal tariff, we're working with Europe to get nukes to defend ourselves if US wants to invade Canada. That's not going to happen. But you get the point. Why is this? It literally had the option of immediately buy. I'm not going to buy anything. So yeah, that's the state of here for now. There's other countries though, like Argentina, who they're the first zero tariff country because Javier Milei knows what to do, right? Pretty sure Italy also will not be doing tit for tat tariffs. Similar deal with Mexico. They're kind of thinking strategically more about this, right? Good leaders they have. Giorgia Meloni, Claudia Sheinbaum. Great. Let's review the rest of the market. It's showing small dips, but that's not necessarily the case. We did indeed have a dip earlier in the day, but it's just showing 24 hours from before, which we're about the same level that where we were. Solana is down a little bit more than the rest. 115, it reached a low of 112 with 18. I think I purchased. No, I didn't. Or maybe I did. I think I did. At 113, I might have made a purchase, a DCA. That would have been good. I know I mentioned this yesterday, oh, look at this perfection. We stopped right over here. Yeah, we just broke that. But we hit the lowest support level that we do have over here. 110 is the all-time low from 2024, I'm pretty sure. That was August 5. Bad, right? Low. Let me go check. I could check in the one-day chart. Oh, well, this was August 5. Why do I have this line here? It's probably just a general. Yeah, general support. I'd actually readjust this over here just to be more precise with it. So that's what we have there. And then next support as well at 106. I feel like we got a lot of supports here for Solana. We should not see a drop lower than these. It would be anti-cyclical, I guess. But I don't know. Solana doesn't really have its cycle. It's just based on depending on the price of Bitcoin's movement and everything. Downtrend extends here, that's for sure. That's a little bit more reasonable. Although not quite. This is 147. I mean, we have a longer term, right? A longer term downtrend? We absolutely do. Maybe it was already broken. Yeah, absolutely. This is from our all-time high, 295, when Trump released meme coin on Solana. This is our lowest point. Uptrend is kind of in a critical zone, so potential readjustment over here. If we do continue our upwards movement, then yeah, that would validate this. Otherwise, we're just looking at all these as just supports. We'll see what happens. I'd still say the uptrend is still in place, very long term. Short-term 1 hour trend, it is indeed still down. How much lower can it go? I don't think it can go lower than this. I think that's hopefully bottom. We'll see how Solana behaves afterwards. 115 is dirt cheap, by the way. It's really, really cheap. I was thinking 125 was average cheap. And, you could probably take some profits at around 140 if you're trading within the range. But no, it actually dropped a little bit lower than that. So it's still a good opportunity for DCA, my opinion. Ethereum, it reached a new low as well today. Yeah, literally a new low. 1,748 and 38 cents. None of these supports or uptrends or nothing could have held it. I just said to myself, you know what? It's over for Ethereum. Is there even a point in readjusting this? Like, this next support level is so far up. Like, the first support we have is right over here, 2,300. I mean, not support, resistance. I always mix those up. It's very far. Downtrend prevails. I wouldn't even consider Ethereum in an uptrend that much anymore. But hey, double support tap. That could possibly be a bottom indicator. If it gives it a third one, we know for sure it's just going to continue dropping. But we shall see as well. A breakout is absolutely necessary for Ethereum. It's been in a critical zone for such a long time. Something needs to happen with it. This can get out. I'll keep the longer term one, indeed. Man, all the way from 4,000, we're worth 1,800. Is it, like, it seems like Ethereum is over, right? Well, we'll see. I'll come back to this in a couple of months. XRP is also pretty low today. 195 was where it reached. Also one of the key levels that I mentioned where it could have dropped. It dropped there. It's still, you know, it kind of broke the uptrend a little bit, but I think with a small readjustment, you can still allow the fact that it is still within an uptrend long term. Hence why I'm using this low level. I'll just readjust it. It makes sense still. We haven't dropped to our lowest point, which is 189 yet. Can we? Hopefully not. We're still in a downtrend over here, but we're close to the moving averages. So we'll see what happens. My bot still says the trends are up in the 5-minute charts for Bitcoin. So it should be similar for the rest as well over here. Next coin is Sui. It didn't drop too much either. Sui just maintained itself within this range while the rest of the coins dropped today. This was the 4 p.m. drop, right? Yeah. So Sui actually dropped along with everything else, but it recovered immediately 8% all the way back up as if the drop originally didn't happen. And then this morning, we did drop for Sui, but most of that drop was already practically mitigated from the rise that it had prior. So now we're just in this range where we're not as low as we should be, which is a good thing. We don't want to see it lower than this. Lowest point was $2.18. We're at $2.23 right now. Supports are at $2.12 to $2.14, I'd say. That's a good support. So it's looking fine for now. Still within the downtrend though. Longer term though, it's still got an uptrend. So we can keep that in mind. Litecoin is at 83. Kind of a similar deal to what Sui did, just a little bit less volatile, right? It is $83.35, low point of 80 today. Was that the lowest? It was. I hope not. Litecoin must not drop lower than this. This is an important support. This uptrend is gone. Ignore the uptrend from now on. We'd have to form a new one entirely. Like, it's not feasible. Cardano 65 cents, reaching a low of 61 cents. Holding up pretty fine, I would say. Lowest point it reached over here was 58. I think it even went lower. Yeah, 50 was the absolute lowest point on February 2nd. So Cardano has actually shown to be less weaker and less weaker with its drops after being the coin that dropped, one of the coins that dropped the most during the first drop in February 2nd. This time around, though, it hasn't dropped as hard, right? Mainly, I would say, due to the fact of, thankfully, this 70% rise that it had when the Crypto Strategic Reserve was announced. A surprise to everyone, including myself. So, yeah, that is absolutely probably one of the reasons why it's been holding on a little bit on the top side of things, right? Look at this. It made me lost so much over here. Oh, yeah, speaking of, now that we are here, I did some other transactions. I think I noted these down already. Yeah, I think I already did. I'll go review my trading workbook just in case. Perpetual. I might have already written all these down. Yeah, I did. So my current balance 4,518. I put 4,900. So I'm losing about $400 there. March, first month, and 10% drop. That's not good at all. But, well, not 10, but 9. 9.48. You get the point. Still bad. I should focus on other assets instead of Cardano, it seems like. Such as Ethereum, XRP, Solana. Although the reason I've kind of been avoiding coins like Ethereum or XRP is because I don't see too much downside potential for them. But I will admit, they do surprise me nonetheless. So, you know, you can never really know. Alright, we're still here. Probably going to get a drop soon. Ranging at the top here still. We didn't form a new high. Good indicator, possible trend reversal here. A swing. Not necessarily a trend reversal, but yeah. I do want to talk about a bit about the stock market that lost a lot of money today. S&P 500 closed down 4.8% negative today. And the volatility index suspiciously remained below 30. Volatility index measures the volatility of the S&P 500 index. There you go. That's your explanation. No, but really, if it's technically something that goes up when everything goes down. That's just the way it works. It's coded to do that. It's at 29.96. That's as high as it could have gone. When today it has actually been one of the worst days. August 5th was also pretty bad, and that reached 65 at its highest point on the volatility index. This case, though, we only reached a high of 30. The idea for the volatility index is you accumulate below, you buy low, and you sell high, right? As every other asset. No, but realistically, though, this, you'll notice that it never drops below this zone between like 12 and 10 on a very precise level. Like people will still buy at like 14 or 15, which is still fine if you do know that the volatility index will increase to high levels like 40, 30, 20, right? It's a good way of holding some cash on the side when things are safe. The times that this suddenly spikes up is when there's uncertainty or fear in the market. When the S&P 500 has these crashes, that's when you will see the volatility index spike upwards. It could be caused by a variety of events. Like I said, recession fear. It could be things like COVID, Russia-Ukraine war, etc. And I can't go that far back. But this is COVID, for example. It reached a high of 85, right? Everything was dropping and people were scared. Till things chilled out, you could reaccumulate over here, buy, sell if you wanted. Reaccumulate, accumulate until, you know, something crazy like recession fears happens. This spikes up. You can sell, make a huge profit. With that profit, you buy the dip. There you go. That's the winning strategy. But you got to be a really good... You got to have good timing for this. And also, sometimes there will be no fear in the markets where the markets will just be rallying. You'd make your money from the stock market itself rallying, right? But when the stock market drops, right, you would lose money, but this thing would rise. And this thing doesn't drop less than these levels, as I mentioned, making it a good good place to hold your cash until opportunities may come up. So that's why people hold this. Now, the idea is with these huge drops in the S&P 500, like you could go to the S&P 500 itself, it's having big drops, right? These are levels we haven't seen since September, August as well. August we went to 5,090. We're at 5,380 right now. In August, we went to 5,090. So, you know, it's not too bad, I guess. Sure. But it's still a large loss that we had. Even the Russell 2000, another index, Dow Jones also dropping like crazy, but the VIX volatility index has not risen that much. A lot of head scratchers here. For comparison, $2.85 trillion was wiped out from the entire United States stock market today. That includes not volatility, liquidations and sell-offs, right? And just for comparison, the total crypto market cap is 2.63 trillion. Just imagine if all of crypto disappeared. That's the loss of the stock market in terms of monetary value. That's crazy. Like, that's all the Bitcoin combined gone. The equivalent of that. I'm not saying that that actually happened, but you get the point. It was all due to Liberation Day tariffs, creating chaos in the markets and recession concerns. People are expecting now a drop to 71,000. I also do expect that in the very, very worst case scenarios. Will it actually happen? I really don't think so. I don't think we're going to drop less than 80,000, honestly speaking. But if we do, I mean, it can. It has already done so in the past. 76,000 is my bet. Yeah. Or like at least 74,000, sorry. 74,000 is the bet. Why? Because that was the highest point of 2024 back in March. So, yeah. All right. We have some XRP news as well to talk about. So, today, April 3rd, there was a securities exchange meeting to talk about XRP, it seems like. It has to do with Ripple's appeal status for the 5th time or whatever, impacting the price after years of legal battles over its security classification, depending. Are you a security? Are you a commodity? What are you? Ripple's $50 million settlement offer and ETF prospects are in play, but a new Florida class action lawsuit filed by Tyler Toomey on April 2nd adds pressure, alleging unregistered XRP sales. So it seems like, I don't know, some little things about the case are still going on there. It is also tied with the broader crypto market with the tariff, recession fears, Bitcoin dropping to 85,000, etc. That's why we also, didn't see too much crazy movements for XRP other than toward the downside. I think my bot just purchased, did it? It did, and I ignored it. Oh, well, I don't like that stop loss. That's whatever. Take profits a little closer. Alright, we'll see what happens. Probably going to go completely against me because that's what Bitcoin loves to do. We were also going to have this, Ripple unlocking 1 billion XRP, something that they do occasionally, right? Unlocking from escrow. But there is a twist this time. Ripple locks up 700 million XRP in escrow again to maintain the supply control. Last month, 700 million XRP returned without the usual $1 billion release. So they're supposed to release 1 billion XRP tokens into the market, but they actually went back and took 700,000 and locked it back up. So instead of there being a lot more coins in circulation, there's not as much coins being released into circulation. That's supposed to drop the price, but now the price would not drop as much. At least that's what I understand from it. It's a monthly program to control token supply, typically releasing 1 billion XRP, but returning 700 million this time, a repeat of last month's strategy. The move aims to reduce XRP's circulating supply, which would ease the downward price pressure, as Ripple still holds over 40% of the total supply as per CoinGecko data. You can also check it on CoinMarketCap. The circulating supply versus the total supply of XRP. It has a set limited supply of 100 billion. So what does that mean? In 100 months, all the XRP will be free and 58 billion is already out there, right? So don't make me do math, but 32? Really? 100 minus 58. 42. Yeah, okay. I was wondering if it was one of those two. 42 technically months. If you're releasing 1 billion XRPs every month, divided by 12, how many years is that? In 3.5 years, all the XRPs will be out there. But they're extending that time frame because they're locking back 700 million instead of 1 billion. So it's only releasing 300 million every month now instead. to ease the impact that it has on the markets, right? We don't want significant drops on here every time that they release it every month. That's not good. So this is a different approach that makes sense. Burning it would also make sense, but you know, it's fine. Lock it back up. Muted response. 0.2% drop. That's it. And the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse of XRP, hinted at possibly reducing future XRP sales to support price stability. Okay, well, there you go. That's bullish overall for XRP, because, you know, it's typically something that they do. They release 1 billion tokens, but now they're going to be slowing that process down. There you go. That's your XRP news. The SEC also acknowledges filing for Fidelity Solana ETF has literally zero impact on the market anymore. But yeah, don't need this. And whale activity, whales are buying. We're always getting USDC getting minted. $250 million created of USDC. What are you going to do with USDC? You're going to buy a token, a crypto, a Bitcoin maybe. I don't know. That's a lot of money. Global M2 money supply. I always talk about this, and it is still in play. So we have an update, which is good. Remember that, you know, as the days move forward, we'll have an idea as to where the general direction of the price is supposed to move. Well, the last bit of, can I just, copy image, paint. I want to draw on this chart. Here we go. Yes, the lag. Love it. Why is this running on like 30 FPS? I don't know. I have a pirated version of Paint, it seems like. No, not really. But here's what I'm trying to get at. We only had data onto... Oh, come on. Why is this line so tiny? Can I get a thicker line? Here, brushes, brush. Is that thick? No. How do I change the thickness? Well, it won't let me. Whatever. I think you guys can still see this, right? We only had data up to here from before, and as days move forward, we can get new data, right? So we finally got that new data, and we actually have a possibility of a new all-time high because this actually spiked upwards. Meaning that, you know, the bull run did not end over here because of the dip that we saw. We saw this dip and we started getting concerned, like, oh, is it over? Does the bull market end in whatever this is, in July? No, the answer is no. We're actually likely going to see a rise by then. And it makes sense as well by that time because we're expecting rate cuts for those months. In June, in July, June, right over here. First FOMC meeting, pump. July, second FOMC meeting, pump. Possibly, right? Possibly. I'm just thinking of what fundamentals could cause a pump go like that. Probably rate cuts, right? That's the only thing that I could think of right now. This over here for the month of May, it's going to be a recovery, right? I don't know, like it's going to be a slow but gradual recovery. We are still in a bull market, so you know, you shouldn't completely disregard the idea of us not seeing a recovery, right? It's absolutely going to happen. We are still over here, and this played out perfectly, by the way. We are here. We may continue to see a drop. That's why I'm expecting, like, okay, maybe 80,000. But this chart, like, I don't know. According to this line, if I was to be really specific with it, what does that look like? I'm trying to make the line as flat as possible here. If this is 77, this is 81. Give me, like, I don't know, 78,000. Which, is that the same low as here? It's 76,000 was the absolute lowest point. This is a line graph, by the way, so it's not going to capture like the highest candle or the lowest candle like we are used to seeing with Japanese candles. But yeah, 78,000, sure. We can see a dip to 78,000, maybe 76 to touch on that support for a second time from the lowest point that we achieved. I don't think we will go that low. But hey, potential to the downside is still there. And we can stay flat over here. What is this level? This is Bitcoin's current price, but this is 81. We can reach like 82, 83, 85. It's not showing that we could hit 85 that frequently, right? I don't know. Maybe we stay down here for a while. Maybe we got to start getting used to the late 70s, 70,000s, right? Like 76, 78, 80,000, around that zone. But that seems like a very prolonged time to be stuck down here. I don't think that's going to be necessarily the case. I don't know, but we'll see. We do know for sure, May 1st, blast off, for sure. And yeah, it just makes sense to do that. So there's a massive M2 spike, new all-time high, practically confirmed. Not really, but, you know, bull run doesn't finish in July. It keeps going. M2 regained ascending channel after deviating below it. Super bullish long term. The blast off phase may last longer than 2 months. That's good. It still continues to currently follow the mini rally that fails like glue. And yeah, great. Perfect. Awesome analysis. My bot is shorting. I will update you guys tomorrow on how that goes. I'm going to end the stream now. That's all the news I had to talk about. Nothing too crazy. Tomorrow just expect some volatility from Fed Chair Powell, non-farm payroll, and unemployment data. And I'll be covering a summary of all that tomorrow. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something new. And if you didn't, well, come back.